Alright. How's it going, everybody?
Take two.
Take two. They weren't supposed to know.
I tell everything.
Yeah.
I tell the truth. We sounded like robots during take one.
We did.
We don't know what happened.
Yep. Technology. So today we are on our way to go test the car in Barstow.
Well, this is episode 5 of Until Dust Do Us Part. You have to introduce that.
Yeah. So this is episode 5.
I think.
It is 5.
Okay.
Until Dust Do Us Part. We kind of been MIA. I've been traveling a lot for work. Rachel and myself also went for our 5-year wedding anniversary back to Riviera Maya in Mexico at the Hard Rock there. So we're gone for 7 days, and now we're just playing catch up on the old podcast. So why don't you tell them what we're doing today?
We are driving to Barstow. This is Rick.
This is Rick.
Hi. We're on our way to beautiful downtown Barstow.
Downtown?
Yep, to test the Can-Am X3. We've just put it back together. Shocks are brand new, and a whole bunch of other upgrades that we've done. We're a little bit behind as far as I'm concerned for Barstow to Vegas. We've got like...
Barstow to Vegas?
Excuse me.
We didn't do that right.
Vegas to Reno. I'm okay today. We're a little bit behind due to technical issues. So, that's it.
What are the technical issues?
Technical issues is that I crashed and burned and broke my femur on my left leg.
Yeah.
So it's been 2 months and I'm trying to recover at this point in time. No more wheelchair, no more walker. Learning how to walk with a cane so that I can get around. Really a lot of fun to break a femur. It's not one of the best injuries that I've had.
Yeah.
I've had worse.
Sorry.
But that's the way it goes. So everything should be really good with the car at this point in time, but you never know. All little things that you have to check and fix.
What? He's got this one loose. It's because of you. It's your fault. We're fighting. Yeah, fix it.
Well, I don't know how to fix it. I won't screw it anymore.
I don't know. I'm just a girl. I know nothing. I do.
Yeah, come on.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. It's a good bandage you just made. What a dipshit. Hurry, fucking fell off. Okay.
Oh, you're an asshole. Wait, what am I doing?
Take it off the car. So, that's it. We're going to beautiful Barstow.
Is it really beautiful?
Yes, it is. Barstow is a wonderful place where we used to race all the time. We were racing quads. Where every race, the promoter would say, God, virgin territory everywhere. Well, that's no such thing in Barstow. There is no virgin territory left. There hasn't ever been any virgin territory left for the last 20 or 30 years. But they all say virgin territory. So
That's like saying that Lucerne has virgin territory.
Yeah, there's not much left in Lucerne either that's virgin because the military's taken over about half the racing area, the riding area that we used to ride on. So, I mean, it's getting just as bad as Barstow. Hammers this year in beautiful Lucerne Valley. Everybody was talking about how rough it was. Well, that's what we raced in for many, many years. So, we're used to it. Not a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, today we're going to go test. We just got some suspension changes done by the
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. He's part of the Hoff.
He is.
Not me, per se.
Just one F.
Just one F. Not Brinkerhoff. Just the Hoff. Hall of Fame for his contribution to building some of the best shocks in off-road history. Tom Morris. Tommy Gunn. Nobody calls him that. Maybe I will. From one gun to another. Colt 45 to Tommy Gunn. Let me holla.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready for Vegas to Reno.
It is happening. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're super pumped.
It will be mid-August. It's going to be a lot crazy. Colt will be in Wisconsin until 12 hours before the race starts.
Don't want to talk about it.
So we are not qualifying, unfortunately, because I got to work and make money.
Yep.
So we can pay for that entry fee. So we're going to be doing a back start.
We're going to be coming back from the back of the pack.
Back of the pack start. But we're not too worried about it because it's a 500 plus mile race. So it doesn't really matter where you start too much because a lot can happen throughout that day.
Yeah.
If you have no issues, it takes around 10 hours to finish. So there's lots of time to make up whatever people we get stuck behind in the beginning, which hopefully none because we got a front bumper.
We're going to be using it.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, we're going to give you time to move over, and if you don't move over, we're going to help you.
It's going to beep, motherfucker.
We say that like we hit people, and then we get behind people. We're like, okay, we don't want to...
I think we've hit like a total of 3 people. Maybe.
I don't even know if it's been that many.
You hit one really famous guy.
We did.
Because he refused to get out of the way. Who was that famous guy?
Dad's already talking shit.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
We're not gonna.
No.
Anyways, so we're gonna go out here and test, and we're actually gonna do the rest of the podcast out there. So this should be good.
We are. But since we have our special guest, Rick, aka my dad.
Yes.
Not Colt's dad.
Not my dad, everybody. I know everybody calls him my dad, but he's much better looking than I am. So you can see the difference.
Okay. Well, I already forgot how we started the conversation with Dad.
I want to talk to your dad about how he got the girls started in racing.
The girls being me and my sister Andrea.
Yeah, and how that all went. So take her away.
Well, we started out racing quads, and it started when Andrea was probably, she's older sister for Rachel. We started out with a LT50 and Suzuki, yeah, and Andrea rode that for a couple of years, and then I bought a LT80 Suzuki, put trick shocks on it and exhaust on it, and tuned the motor a little bit here and there. And so that's how we started out, and then I moved Andrea up to a Blaster, which is
A death trap.
Luckily, Lone Star helped us a lot with trick A-arms for that and swing arm.
But could never really get those shocks working right.
Never. We could never get the thing to be perfect. I mean, we tried. I'd love to throw the girls over the handlebars. It was just...
Good times.
It was just the most...
Because that's normal.
Yeah, well, and I put disc brakes on it so that it actually would stop.
Yeah, those drums aren't going to do it.
Well, the problem with the drums is first time you put the brakes on, everything stretched and then they wouldn't work again.
Yeah.
No one needs brakes.
Yeah.
No one needs brakes.
What do you need brakes for? Because Rachel, when she started riding the Suzuki 50, the only way she'd stop, she'd run the side of my golf cart. We'd be out in the desert riding.
No brakes.
No brakes. Yeah, she didn't need brakes. She didn't want to use the brakes.
They slow you down.
Yeah. So once we put Andrea onto the Blaster, Rachel went on to the LT80, and she started racing in the kids' classes out in the desert. And they finally moved her up to the motorcycle class out of the quad class because she was beating all the quads so bad. Then they were upset because she's beating all the motorcycles on her quad.
I was lapping
dare
them.
you.
She was lapping the motorcycles.
How dare you?
So,
Quad.
that's just where we started out. Andrea moved up to the Blaster, as I said earlier. I built her a Lone Star 250R after that. She was probably 13 years old, 14 years old, something like that. And moved Rachel up to the Blaster. And then Andrea, she actually started racing when she was about 12 and a half. And you got to be 16 to race AMA. but I don't know.
How'd you get across that then?
I don't know. Her birth certificate said 16, so I figured she must be 16 if the birth certificate says that. So that's how we started out.
So, the birth certificate, that sounds sketchy.
Well, it's kind of like Obama's. Nobody really knows where she was born.
Let me just put in a side note. My father was just telling us we shouldn't cuss on this podcast because it might upset people. And then he just made this comment.
Yes.
As Colt just spilled water everywhere.
I did. Don't worry about me.
So, okay, back to what you're saying about this birth certificate magically showing that she's 16 years old.
So, she was doing really good. Rachel and her both on their quads, and Rachel at that point, we put a chase plate on her quad because they allowed, chase fathers to pace with their kids, to race with the kids so that they could be there, for safety reasons, etc. So when Rachel was about 12, we put one of those on her quad. And
I was a chase daughter.
she was a chase daughter. There wasn't a lot they could say about that.
Yeah.
So, that's what we did. The month before Andrea turned 16, she crashed and broke her back. She was running second overall national hare and hound in Lucerne Valley, and just hit a drop off, and that was it. So Rachel didn't get to race officially until she was 16.
Thanks a lot, Andrea.
Yeah.
Andrea ruined it.
Crap happens, that's racing. Excuse me, that's racing. So, and Rachel had to wait till she was 16 because we just didn't.
Big boss said no.
Yeah, her mother said no.
Big boss.
I was concerned about it also, so we just had a ride chase. So she was getting lots of good experience before she turned 16. So once she turned 16, I built her we built another Lone Star 250R. And the neat thing about these bikes is that they're lightweight. Teddy Boyko at Boyko Racing and I came up with a great combination for the motors. The motors were bulletproof.
You really want to say the motors are bulletproof? When my first race, my engine blew.
Yeah, well, we kind of had an issue with first race because blew the gasket out of the bottom of the case, where the jug goes onto the bottom case. Blew the gasket out, and the motor seized.
Rachel was ripping too hard.
Yeah, so that was a small little thing that we had to overcome. Not a big deal, but everybody kept saying, "Man, you need to build 450s for these girls." Well, they were so light, and those motors had so much horsepower that they were so much faster than the 450s. It was a complete joke anyway. They handled good. They were lightweight. They, you throw them into a corner.
I could lift it if I got stuck on something.
Yep, desert
Sometimes.
racing. Yeah,
Sometimes.
Desert racing. You sometimes get stuck on rocks. We figured out very beginning that the aluminum skid plates weren't the best way to go. That the plastic ones were much better because you slid over the rocks.
We found that out in the beginning. Did you hear that, Colt?
Well, yeah, it took us a while.
It took me coming around. let's be honest.
Yeah.
Just like no graphics on our quads.
Yeah.
No graphics at all. Not allowed.
Have those.
Don't like graphics. Clean.
And now,
look.
and now whose Banshee has graphics?
Well, that's because we had to rebuild it for a magazine article. It was on cover of Dirt Wheels.
Hey, so was my quad.
Yeah,
And so was Andrea's.
All three of your guys.
Was any of Colt's quads on the cover?
No.
Never made the cover.
No. We had.
I had like a 5-page
I'm
spread
salty
about.
as fuck about that still.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yep.
Even when I worked there, still didn't get it.
Well, yeah, but the trick is that we were talking a Banshee, Lone Star Banshee, trick, long travel suspension, and two 250R Lone Star.
And what the fuck was wrong with my 450?
It was a dog.
It was a 4-stroke.
It was a 4-stroke. So, that was the reason that they were on the front of the
I don't care what you're saying.
Dirt Wheels
Because
magazine.
we're better than Colt.
I don't care.
And articles on the inside about Rachel, and I think Andrea had an article on the inside also, didn't she?
Everybody had articles.
Yeah.
It wasn't just.
Yeah.
That wasn't special.
That's right.
The cover was special. The inside was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I had a magazine.
So basically what they're saying is I suck, and they are the best. I'm the worst. So just summing that up for you.
how many national championships do you have?
Oh, Dad, we've already talked about this many times in earlier episodes that I have more
okay.
than him.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
don't need to keep pouring
Let's
salt
just
on the
put
wounds
salt.
here.
Let's put salt in all my burns.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, when he first came around, like the second year I think it was, he beat Andrea out for the national championship in the expert pro class by what, a couple points? And otherwise, if he hadn't showed up, she would have won the national championship in that class.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Yeah. Well.
Also, I'd like to bring up the fact, because when I used to work at Fast Company, they make the flex handlebars.
Greatest handlebars in the world. Those
But
things are unbelievable.
I want to point out that this dipshit didn't end up, because all riders, they want to have their levers where
This
they need
is
to
a
go.
never-ending debate between the two of them.
Where, you want to have your levers where they need to go. Everybody's different. Everybody likes a preference. So I told Rick, I mounted his flex handlebars because I'm a good guy. I mounted them.
He was trying to date me. That's why he mounted them.
Yes, that's exactly why. But that's besides the point, because I mounted them up for him to be a nice guy, and I left his levers loose. Before I left, I said, hey, you need to tighten these levers, and your clutch lever and your brake lever, put them where you want them, tighten them down, be a good human. And why don't you go ahead and tell your side, Rick?
Well, I come into the first check, and actually before the first check, so probably 10 miles
A
into
check is a checkpoint, by the way.
checkpoint out in the middle of the desert. I go to grab the front brake. No brakes. The lever's gone.
Because
The
these
lever's
guys
gone.
these guys don't.
gone. Where is it?
Well, it's down around the bars, facing down. I can't find it. So
These guys don't know how to use rear brakes, by the way.
don't like your real brakes that much.
You can't
Not in
find
the desert.
them with your boots.
Sure.
So I have the lever is now down because he forgotten to tighten it up. So
I
he
forgot.
tries to kill me the first race I have the new bars
Trying
on
to
the
date his
bike.
daughter, and now I'm trying to kill him when
Yeah.
I clearly told him, tighten this shit up.
No, nobody told me anything. So I get to the first check, and the guy that's doing the check, I said to him, hey, do you have any zip ties or a 10? I need to tighten this. No, I don't have anything. So I get off the bike.
Plus, he would have had tools. The 10 would have been gone. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I get off the bike, take my gloves off, take my helmet off, get into my tools,
So sad.
and tighten the lever so that I can continue.
Right.
So, that's kind of the way things went the first couple of races.
The
First couple.
Yeah.
What else happened?
Well, no, excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. That race with those bars. So, that happened.
Correction.
So, we retire from racing quads, decide we're going to start racing Can-Am X3s.
In what year?
That was like
18.
2018. So the last race that I physically did, I was leading the
AME class.
amateur class. 7 miles from the end, crashed. The bike pounded me into the ground and broke my hip, my pelvis, and my right hand.
That was fun.
Yeah, fun day. So, luckily, I passed about 10 motorcycles just before that. The guys stopped, got the bike off of me, started it.
Somehow got you back on the quad.
Two guys picked me up and put me back on the quad because I could not get up. And I rode the last 7 miles, 8 miles to the finish line.
And that's badass shit right there, guys. Broken right hand, his throttle hand, twist throttle, and
pelvis.
Pelvis was broken. I mean,
His hip and pelvis were so broken they couldn't operate on it. It was just like completely shattered. Like he should not be walking.
but he was able to finish those last 7 miles to get back, and he shows up and he's got blood all over his gear. He's all, "We gotta go," and I'm like, "Oh my God, what the hell happened?" Because Rachel and I were already done racing. Andrea just won the race, and
She did not win.
yeah, she did.
No, she didn't. She got second.
No, she won that race.
Oh, in the expert class. Who beat her though? Someone beat her.
One of the pros beat her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she won her
She
class.
beat 3 out of the 4 pros.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But and it was just gnarly because like when I saw that blood, I'm like, "Oh shit, this is serious." And we ended up having to pick Rick up off of the quad to put him in the ambulance, and they checked him out a little bit, and they're like, "All right, let's go to Ridgecrest Hospital." And what'd you tell him?
I would rather go to a vet and get me out of this ambulance.
Yeah.
And we drove
All the way down to Mission.
an hour and a half down to Mission Viejo, where they drove into the ambulance entrance, and they said, "You can't drive this car in here. You need to go over there and park." And I opened the door, and they said, "Oh."
I said, "We have a trauma patient. You need to get him out of the car. We cannot get him out."
Yeah.
And for a little bit, because Colt and I, like he said, we were done racing quads, so we had the UTV, and for some reason, like we usually all just pile into the truck and go to races, but for some reason, Colt and I drove, we had a Ford Fusion that we were leasing at the time, and for some reason, we drove a separate car.
Yeah.
Never freaking happened. And thank God we did, because we left poor Colt with both dogs, the quads, the stock Can-Am at the time, and Andrea, my dad, and I drove all the way from Ridgecrest to Mission Viejo, and I was like, wow, what are the odds that this is the time that we drive a separate vehicle? Because there was no way in hell we were going to get you up into a truck.
No.
way.
And you know, the crazy thing about it is that Andrea calls her husband, Matt, who happens to be a California Highway Patrolman, and says, "You know, this is the issue. What do I do if I get stopped?" Because she was running.
We were driving real fast.
Yeah. And he said, "Just hand the officer the phone, and I'll talk to him." So we made it in record time from...
Did not get pulled over.
No.
Nope. Record time from Red Mountain to Mission Viejo, California.
That record still stands.
For sure. Unbelievable time we made. So that was my last race.
And then we fought about who was going to call and tell Mom what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember who told Mom.
Probably Andrea.
That I don't remember.
So that
And then he got blood. Let's not forget, he got blood all over the Fusion. Like, he kept putting his hand up like this because it was bleeding everywhere. So there was like blood on the ceiling. And we're about to turn this back in because, like I said, we leased it. So we had to scrub the blood out.
Yep.
Well, so then we retired racing quads up until last year at Laughlin. We decide that we're going to race the Laughlin Hare Scrambles, or whatever the heck it's called.
Best in the desert.
Best in the Desert UTV race. And so we decided that they'd race my Banshee. So it'd been sitting for a few years. We went out and tested. Everything seemed to be okay until it blew the intake manifolds off of it
Colt's fault.
because they were just a little bit
They're a little rotten.
rotten.
Yeah.
So, it sucked some air in. So, we were not sure about the motor at that point. We put new intake manifolds on it.
Yeah. And
Tested it again. It was like, it's okay.
yeah. And the reason that we wanted to race the Banshee is, number one, why the hell not? It's awesome. Number two is because Donald Cowboy Cerrone, one of the best MMA fighters, he's racing in, he's Hall of Fame, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. But he decided to race his Banshee at this race, so we're like, oh, that gives us even more fuel. So a little bit of shit talking on social media going on between all of us, and which was cool.
We claim not to know how to race quads.
Yeah, we were asking what the best way to do it and how to do it and everything like that. So yeah, we were playing it up a little bit.
Yeah, but there was that one guy that on the expert line who knew who you were.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
starting line. Nobody knew because we registered Rachel's name.
And no one knows who I am.
Nobody knows who she is at Best in the Desert.
I never raced Best in the Desert till UTVs.
Yeah, so we were sneaking up on him,
Yeah.
which was fun. It's all part of the fun.
Why don't you tell everybody, Rach, about how you were talking smack to Mr. Cowboy Cerrone?
Well, we go to the start line to stage for the race at like 5:30, 6 a.m., whatever time it was. It was early. And Colt's already over on the line, and he's talking to him and other people that are on the line.
Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah. And as I walk up, I hear, oh, your wife's too scared to race against the cowboy? And I'm like, excuse me?
And I'm like, oh, that was dumb.
And he goes, are you too scared to race against the cowboy? And I said, I don't even remember what
You said, oh, are we talking shit? I love to talk shit.
I love talking shit. Let's go.
Yep.
And then they all just kind of stared at me, and we talked a little bit of shit. And there were cameras around because, you know, that crew always has cameras rolling.
Yeah, Josh
so I'd like to see me talking shit. It's probably way cooler in my head than it is in real life. But I still can say I talk shit to an MMA fighter because at the time he was still fighting.
He was.
And Colt was all mad at me because I was going to get his ass kicked.
Yes. There's been a few times that's happened in my life.
Well, I just like to run my mouth. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's all in good fun.
It is. But both times, I won't say a few, both times these people were much larger than me and could probably pummel me.
The other guy would not have done anything. Cowboy is smarter than to
I know.
hit you.
Because
nothing was going to happen.
his hands and feet and knees, his whole body is a registered like weapon. Like, and plus, if he hit me, I'd be dead anyways. Like first hit.
And then I get my life insurance policy on you.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you're set.
I am
so
set.
everybody's happy. So.
Yeah.
So we start that race, and Rick, what kind of other competition was around? Like what kind of quads?
Well, everything on the line was a 4-stroke. 90% of them were Honda 450s, which, you know, we've had a little bit of arguments over that particular quad and the Banshee for many years. Yeah, the Honda handles a little better.
A little.
But my Banshee's Lone Travel, Lone Star Trick stuff.
Still can barely turn.
Untrue. You just need to know how to ride it.
Oh.
We get to Colt takes off, and he didn't get a very good start because, well, that's right, he was spinning the tires against all these 450s. And the next thing you know, about 20 feet from the starting line, he's caught them all. To the first corner, about 75 yards, he's ahead of them all. All these trick, big-time 450s, one that Josh Rose, you know, big-time motor, big-time handling quad.
And who was riding that?
Cowboy was riding that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because his CDI box went out on his Banshee.
Yeah, his Banshee. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. He was mouthing off and talking about his Banshee, how fast it was. It was like, okay.
He would have died if he rode that Banshee.
Yeah.
That Banshee would not have made it like half a lap.
I think it was like 3 inches off of the ground.
Yeah.
It would have been great for TT racing.
Yeah. So, you know, we're laughing about, you know, how fast the 450s are. Well, Colt's got them all covered by the first turn. By the first mile, there was none of them even in the shots from the GoPro that was turning, you know, 360.
Yeah.
You couldn't see dust. You couldn't see any of the quads. He was so far ahead, it was just
We had a
pathetic.
GoPro Max on, which is 360, so I was able to.
And we were very out of quad racing shape.
Oh my god.
It was so bad. I have never felt so out of shape in my life as I tried to get back into quad shape.
Yeah, I don't know if like any of you as adults. I grew up with trampoline. I could jump for days on end and not get tired as a kid. I do like maybe 10 jumps now, and I want to throw up. That's how I felt out there. Yeah, and I had only gone a lap.
Which was 17 miles.
Yeah.
Rub it in.
Through the roughest garbage you'd ever want to see.
Yeah.
No big rocks like we raced in Barstow, Lucerne Valley. Pretty smooth stuff compared to that, other than the whoops, which there's a lot of them in Barstow where we're going to test today.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, he was leading big time. There was nobody. You didn't even see any dust. He comes around the first lap, comes down, last turn, coming down pit row, which he wasn't stopping, so he was not on pit row. The right front spindle breaks on the Banshee.
Thank God it broke right there.
Yep. So he limps it down. We're going, okay, what are we going to do now?
I run down to Cowboy Cerrone's pit, and I said, where's this Banshee? And they're like, oh, over by the trailer. I'm like, can we use parts off of it? Cowboy's on the quad, so he doesn't get to answer for his own stuff, but they're like, yeah, sure, go grab it. So we grabbed Cowboy Cerrone's quad after never really talking to him, and then just talking shit earlier that day. We grabbed his quad and we start taking parts off of it.
Well, we were lucky that Bill from KWI Clutches was there. He's a Banshee fanatic, as we are.
Yep.
So he starts ripping our quad apart. I start taking Banshee apart for Cerrone, and we take the front spindle off and replace it. And Rachel gets on the bike and takes off.
No, Colt did another lap.
Oh, Colt did another lap?
I did do another lap.
Yeah, and then Rachel got on after that, and unfortunately, we lost the motor because of it sucking.
Because of Colt.
Because it sucked the intake manifolds off of it the weekend before, and we thought it was okay, but it wasn't. So we made it a total of 4 laps out of 6.
I was going real slow.
Well, the first lap you were doing really well until...
You were not going slow. The quad was dying.
Yeah.
I know, I was going slow because of the quad dying.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have ran faster than it.
What did the lady say the first lap when you went through the...
Well, she came down after it finally died, and she's like, are you okay? She was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. She's like, you were going way slow this lap. Last lap, you were going much faster. I was like, yes, because the engine just seized on me. But thank you.
So,
thank you, ma'am.
That's basically it. The Banshee's still sitting in the garage.
Broken.
We put Cowboy Cerrone's quad back together.
And then as he's lining up, so we race in a different class than Cerrone in the UTVs. So at Laughlin, they split the UTVs up into separate races. So it was the quad race, and then it was his race in the unlimited UTV class, and then our race was after his for the Pro Turbo class. And so he's like getting ready to go to staging, and we're like, hey dude, thanks for letting us borrow parts from your Banshee earlier.
And he kind of like,
he's already like kind of strapped into it.
Yeah, he's completely strapped in, and you can't really move much in a car, but he kind of like turns his head and looks at his quad, and and he's like, yeah, no problem.
He had no clue what had happened.
No, he didn't.
I don't remember when you guys told him what happened.
Right after we brought the quad back.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
He was done racing?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
And what was his reaction when you told him face to face?
Well, that's what he just kind of like did a little look,
okay.
And he's like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit.
No.
That thing wasn't running anyways because of the CDI box, but...
Yeah, we would have given him another CDI box the day before, but we didn't have anybody coming from Orange County because I had a CDI box in Orange County.
Yeah, but let's be honest, his Banshee wasn't ready to race.
No.
Like we said, it was like 3 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
I have all these dreams all the time. I'm gonna sound psycho for a second here, but I have dreams that like certain things are gonna happen during life, but like especially the week before a race, I'll have dreams and I'll be like, okay, blah 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 is not gonna finish. This person's gonna do really bad in qualifying. When we ripped the rear end off of the car when we rolled at Cal City because the steering stripped. I had a dream that something was going to happen to the passenger rear side, which it did. So, like, I have dreams. And I told Colt, I said, I don't know how to tell Cerrone's team this, but I had a dream. If he races that Banshee, someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah. She's clairvoyant, for sure.
Luckily, no one raced the Banshee.
Yeah, they raced that Trick 450,
which was a good move. Cause
yeah, it was a good move. The bike was well prepped.
Yeah.
Safe.
Yeah, safe. But it was no match for the Banshee. Or well,
the Banshee was no match for itself.
Yeah.
Well, it'll get fixed in the next month or so because we got Laughlin coming up again.
Yeah, but here's the deal. That Banshee has over 10,000 miles on it. Same chassis, it's got new A-arms, new swing arm, and everything like that, but it's the same frame. So spindles, got changed once in its life, according to Rick.
And I imagine 10,000 is probably short on mileage.
Yeah, we know that. Since 1992, that thing went anywhere between 50 to 100 plus the practice.
We didn't practice.
Well,
but we were racing like every weekend.
But you go out and ride
the day before the
race and shake everything down. So there's very big possibilities that thing had over 10. 10's just a easy number that's been surpassed, I'm sure. So talk shit all you want on that dinosaur, but I've gone through probably 4 or 5 Honda frames, 450 frames from them breaking and cracking, and that says a lot about that Banshee.
I never understood my dad's riding style because it was like he never even moved. It was like he was just chilling. And then I never rode the Banshee until we just got done testing out here in Barstow. We got some friends. Let them pass by so you can actually hear us. But just got done testing. How was it, babe?
It was good. Got the suspension feeling pretty dialed. Tom got us in the right direction at utvshocks.com. So we're gonna call it a day on this test day. Hopefully go test in some nighttime. Try to get the lights dialed in and try to get my senses all feng shui with what's going on with that. So yeah, we're gonna finish this up in the truck because it's getting damn hot and we're hungry.
Alright, let's make sure we got everything plugged in. Alright, so we're back. We just did our testing out in Barstow.
You already said that when we were out in the car. Before you got in the truck.
So we're on the freeway.
In traffic.
In traffic, of course, because we're in forever construction zones up here in the high desert of Victorville, Hesperia. What other turds are out here? Feeling. I got a feeling. So we didn't get a chance to get this setup out there in the desert because it was a long morning of testing.
Also, it was windy, so it would have just been like.
Well, I think with these little fellers, it wouldn't have been so bad.
I don't know. I don't have.
We don't know anything about this. But so testing went pretty dang good. I mean, the setup that we have from UTV Shocks from Tom Morris worked out to be probably the best starting setup that we've had so far, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
And we just had to do some little tweaks here and there on the compression adjustment, get it to smooth out over the gnarly rain ruts that were out there. Because I have a feeling with how much rain Nevada got, there could be some pretty good rain ruts going on at Vegas to Reno.
The only benefit we have is the bikes, the quads, and then the trophy trucks. And like class 1, 10, all those go before us. So hopefully they'll knock some of it down.
Yeah.
But out in Barstow, there was some gnarly stuff out there.
Yeah, and of course it's already hard packed somehow because Barstow. But yeah, I mean the DC2 ran awesome. Just for the heck of it, we're going to hook up, the bud system on the laptop. We're going to hook up AIM, see how everything was looking on the entire car. It's pretty nice that we can do that instead of like having a carburetor. Well, why is it doing that? I don't know. Something just, kind of takes the guesswork out of what the damn thing's doing. So it is nice for that. Also sucks that you have to have a laptop to work on it every time something like crazy haywire happens. But yeah, Mr. Eric came out.
Yes. Chinga Eric.
Chinga Eric. He likes to use the word chingaderas. And if you've never heard of a chingaderas,
It's a whatchamacallit.
yeah, what did you call something earlier today?
That was last night.
What did he say?
I don't remember what it was.
Something
Something.
as
yeah.
bad. But chingaderas is hand me that thing, or hand me, or
I need the chingaderas.
I need that, or I can't remember what it's called. It's now called the chingaderas, and you should know what I'm talking about. So he was out there driving his Honda Talon, got some time in on that, like 20 minutes. Not sure why he brought it, but at least he got out and drove it. He was helping us wrench on the car. So appreciate him coming out and spending time with us when he didn't need to. And yeah, I mean, we're just gonna probably do a couple more suspension or testing days, or maybe one more.
Probably one or two more. Gotta get my sister in the car so she can see what it's like being in the car at night.
Yeah,
Just in case she's gotta hop in and help me out at Vegas to Reno.
yeah.
We're
Your
gonna try
back
to
is
make
still
it.
acting up.
We're gonna try to make it the whole 10 hours.
I think she's gonna be able to do it. She's tough. She can do this. She's done worse.
Yeah, how about 100 miles in a blizzard in Utah for National Hare and Hound?
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
That was the worst day of my life.
That was the longest day I've ever raced.
I thought I was gonna die out there.
Yep.
Especially when I went to the check, I was like, how many miles left? I'm so cold. They're like, we don't know how many miles are left. I'm like, you're the check. How do you not know how many miles are left?
Yeah.
And at one point, Darren and I got off our quads and then we stood by the fire for a few minutes because my hands are so cold I couldn't even hold on anymore.
And as soon as the race ended, the great thing was it quit snowing blizzard conditions.
Yes, that is true.
It was snowed all night the night before, Friday night. And that's just Utah. Little Sierra sand dunes.
Sierra?
Sahara sand dunes.
Yeah. Little Sahara.
Yeah.
Sand Mountain.
Yeah.
God's country.
Yeah, sure.
These guys hate sand more than anybody on the
It was
planet.
enjoyable though, like going past all the Utah guys that like pride themselves in being like sand people.
Yeah.
And then on my little two-stroke, I just like fly past them. I'm like, bye.
Yeah. Yep. They're like, I'm gonna use a Star Wars reference. They're like Jawas.
I have no clue what you're saying.
Sand people.
No, you
That was
lost
a
us.
Cartman reference as
Yep.
well. So, anyways, do we have anything else to talk about?
We need food.
We need lots of food. I did say talk about, and that reminded me of Rachel's shirt, and it says something about tacos.
SLPs help you taco about it.
Taco about it.
Yeah,
I want tacos.
that was a good $10 shirt.
Was a good $10 shirt.
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess we're signing off. So this is our 5th episode of Until Dust Do Us Part.
That is.
Did you like how fast? I'm fucking on it. I'm
Yep.
like this.
And be on the lookout. We're getting ready to drop some new hats. We're just waiting for them to show up.
Some new merch.
We have
We love that word.
No, technically 4 new hats.
Yeah.
3 new hats. One of those hats has 2 different designs.
Yeah, we're so stoked.
We're a
some
little
good-
late in the summer season because it feels like summer is pretty much over somehow.
Got something cool coming for the kids.
Yep. But
So-
be on the lookout. Go check it out at www.dusty-crew.com.
Yep. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
So tired.
Wanna be a.
I don't want to be like my kid said.